So, you've probably seen the headlines, right? A lot of talk about de-escalation between the US and Iran. But what if that's not the whole story? Argues the complete opposite. They're saying we're not seeing the end of a conflict, but the calm before a much bigger storm.
And the report kicks off with this incredibly stark statement. I mean, think about it. The war hasn't ended. The real war is about to begin. Their entire argument is that what looks like a withdrawal is actually just a setup, a strategic repositioning for a much, much larger conflict.
Okay, so how do they even make that case? Well, it all comes down to 5 key arguments. We're going to look at a sudden military shift, a pretty surprising refusal from regional allies, this whole idea of repositioning instead of retreating, a major intelligence failure, and ultimately what this all means for the balance of power. So let's dive in.
It all starts with the catalyst for this analysis, a sudden military movement that, according to the source, raises way more questions than it answers. The analysis begins with satellite images, and they're reportedly showing a ton of U.S. aircraft movement out of a key base in Saudi Arabia. Now, on the surface, you see planes leaving and you think, okay, withdrawal, classic de-escalation. But the details suggest something else is going on entirely. And here's the key. According to the source, it's what kind of assets are being moved. We're not talking about fighter jets or bombers here. We're talking about dozens of C-130 cargo planes, refueling tankers, and other support aircraft. So the real question becomes, why would you move your support fleet out first?
To answer that question, we've got to look at the second piece of the puzzle. The report argues this military shift wasn't a choice at all, but a necessity. It was forced by a powerful and unified diplomatic no from America's own regional allies.
And here's the core of that argument. The source claims a coalition of key nations, we're talking Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Egypt, Turkey, and Oman, all delivered the exact same message to the United States. You cannot use our bases or our airspace for an attack on Iran, period. This, in effect, created a kind of diplomatic blockade.
The report gives special attention to Saudi Arabia's stance, claiming their message to the U.S. was an emphatic refusal to have, and I'm quoting the characterization here, this filth or fight on their soil. With these traditional launching points off the table, the U.S. was forced to find another way.
So, if allies are saying no and planes are leaving, does that mean the threat is over? According to this report, not even close. This isn't a retreat, it's a strategic realignment.
And this brings us to the central idea of the whole report, repositioning. The argument is that those support planes are being moved out just to clear the board, making way for a much larger offensive force that will operate from more distant locations, like the island of Diego Garcia.
To back this up, the report alleges that while support planes are leaving, a far greater military power is simultaneously moving into the region. This includes aircraft carriers, bombers, and more fighter jets, a massive buildup of offensive firepower.
Now, the report argues there's another major factor driving this new strategy, what it describes as a catastrophic failure in the world of covert intelligence operations inside Iran.
The report poses this question to explain why a direct military option might now be more attractive. It suggests that an attempt to destabilize the Iranian government from within didn't just fail, it backfired spectacularly.
According to this narrative, the plan was to use internal protests as a trigger, which would then be escalated by foreign agents, their assets, on the ground. But Iranian authorities not only suppressed the unrest, they allegedly managed to expose and capture an entire Israeli intelligence network in the process. And the significance of this really cannot be overstated. A human intelligence network can take decades to build. Losing an entire network isn't just a setback. The source calls it a catastrophic blow, essentially leaving foreign agencies flying blind inside the country.
So you have military repositioning, a diplomatic blockade, and a massive intelligence failure. All of this, according to the report, leads to one ultimate conclusion. The fundamental balance of power in the Middle East has shifted.
And here's how the report frames that shift. The old perception was of an isolated Iran with inaccurate missiles. The new reality it presents is an Iran capable of challenging superpowers, armed with highly accurate, precision strike weapons.
And to prove this new reality, the report points to 4 key pieces of evidence. Iran's retaliation forced Israeli bomb shelters to open. Its perceived strength gave Arab nations the confidence to block U.S. base access. Its missile technology has become highly precise. And it dismantled a sophisticated foreign intelligence network on its own soil.
So we end where we began. If this analysis is correct, the moves we're seeing aren't signs of peace.
Instead, they're pieces on a chessboard being reset for a much more dangerous game. And that leaves us with the critical question, what comes next?